PR Connections Radio presents
Welcome, Golden Knights fans, and hello everyone around the world to Vegas Hockey Hub, as we are going to be doing another Vegas Hockey Hub recap here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele, and what an amazing game it was at T-Mobile Arena as you had the Vegas Golden Knights defeat the Philadelphia Flyers and to remain 7-0, still be perfect on the season for your Vegas Golden Knights. And before we really get into the breakdown and do the recap correctly, we have to let everyone know about PRConnectionsRadio.com. We have about a dozen shows on the network. So regardless if you go down onto the home tab, scroll down and look at all the amazing content on all the shows that are on PRConnectionsRadio.com. If you want to watch any shows on there, we have links and stuff that you can watch. So PRConnectionsRadio.com if you want to support the network. If you want to go to our Facebook page at PR Connections Radio or at Vegas Hockey Hub, there is a lot of good stuff going on there. We post content every single day onto the Facebook page. So I highly recommend going out there and subscribing and liking the Facebook page. It would be a lot much appreciated. If you want to go into our Twitter at Vegas Hockey Hub, we do a live tweet of the game. So as the game is going on, we'll be doing live tweeting. I respond to everybody who reaches out to us at Vegas Hockey Hub. So once again on Twitter at Vegas Hockey Hub, or if you want to subscribe to the host at Ian Rachiele 18. If you want to go to our YouTube channel, PR Connections Radio at PR Connections. Wow, they put out content every single day onto the YouTube channel. A dozen shows on the network, including Vegas Hockey Hub. And they have a bunch of fantastic content on the network. Go check out the YouTube channel. And on Vegas Hockey Hub, our YouTube channel, we put out content every single day. So we put out content normally around 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central on the YouTube channel. So if you want to subscribe and turn on notification bell so you don't miss any content we put on the Vegas Hockey Hub, I highly recommend it. And lastly, if you want to support the show, if you want to like, share, and subscribe, I would be much appreciated. So getting into the recap for the Golden Knights and Philadelphia Flyers, we have to start out by talking about the guy who has come back. Alex Pietrangelo returned to practice after having that injury for the Vegas Golden Knights. Alex Pietrangelo is back. He's not wearing a red jersey anymore. He is just in practice doing a skate for the Golden Knights earlier in the morning. And yeah, when it comes to Alex Pietrangelo, that is definitely a big situation because you've been missing him for a while. Kaden Korczak has done well in his place. You have Braden Bahal. He's on the bottom line as well. But the fact that Alec Martinez, he came back a while ago. They're still waiting on Whitecloud. You're still waiting on Pietrangelo to come back. But it's slow and steady. That's the way I'm going to put it. Slow and steady wins the race. So for Alex Pietrangelo, he is returning to practice. It looks like he might be coming back soon for your Vegas Golden Knights. You also had the fact that Logan Thompson would be in net for the Vegas Golden Knights. Aiden Hill, he has been the netminder for a lot of these games for the Vegas Golden Knights. So it's good to see Logan Thompson be in the game. And Logan Thompson so far has been near perfect this season, as it has been about 3 games for Logan Thompson. His statistics for the Vegas Golden Knights is insane. I got to give a lot of props to Logan Thompson. Not only is he 3-0, but he has a goals against average of 2.0 and a save percentage above 93%. So for Logan Thompson, he has done exceptionally well. And also I'm going to give props to Aiden Hill as well. 4-0, a 1.73 goals against average, and a save percentage as well above 93%. So when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights, I will say Logan Thompson's done pretty well as the backup, the guy who was an all-star last year for your Vegas Golden Knights. He has done exceptionally well and did really well tonight that he did against the Philadelphia Flyers. And one last note before we really get into the game, there was a funny ESPN commercial that appeared before the game kicked off. Jonathan Marchessault, Jack Eichel in the penalty box. Then you had Steve Levy. He joined them. And funny enough, the UCLA mascot also went into the penalty box. Steve Levy, he asked Jonathan Marchessault and Jack Eichel why they're in the penalty box. High sticking, slashing. And then Steve Levy responded to a company-wide email, replied all. So apparently that's why he was in the penalty box. But yeah, really funny moment. I will say ESPN, they're at least making an attempt with hockey. You know, I understand TNT has been the best, and there's no dispute there. TNT and Sportsnet have kind of been the 1A, 1B when it comes to watching hockey. But ESPN, I will give props where props is due. They're making an attempt. They're getting better as time goes on. And it really feels like ESPN is actually trying to market the NHL more. They're having commercials. They're actually advertising that, hey, we have the NHL license. We should watch some of our games on ESPN. Now, getting into the game itself. Now, the first 5 minutes, not much happened in the game. This kind of been something a lot of people have been talking about, including myself. It is the fact that the Vegas Golden Knights, despite being 7-0, it's always felt like they get a slow start to the game. I don't know if it's the pacing. I don't know if it's because they, haven't had their coffee, hasn't kicked in yet. I don't know what it is. But the Vegas Golden Knights, I always felt like they just get really slow to begin the game. However, after the first 5 minutes, they kicked it into gear. And after being benched in the Chicago game, after having a very interesting situation against the Blackhawks and their very slow start to the season, Ivan Barbashev with his first goal of the season for the Vegas Golden Knights. This is a guy who's done pretty well for the Vegas Golden Knights. And I'll say for Ivan Barbashev, this is somebody who, like I said, had a very slow start compared to his line mate. Jack Eichel's done pretty well. You also had Jonathan Marchessault, Jack Eichel. They have both done pretty well. And then you have Ivan Barbashev. He's had a really slow start. So Ivan Barbashev, congrats to him on doing what he is doing. Of course, Jack Eichel and Jonathan Marchessault with the assist. There's line mates. Come on. But I do like the intensity I saw from Ivan Barbashev on the play. It was a good setup, solid execution. And for Ivan Barbashev, he did a really good job at getting the puck in the back of the net. Now, can Ivan Barbashev keep this up for 82 games? We'll see if he can or not. But for Ivan Barbashev, congrats to him finally getting back on the board because it has been a while. It's been about since game one that Ivan Barbashev had a puck go in the back of the net. Now, a few minutes later, the Philadelphia Flyers, they would get back on the board as Noah Katz would have his first goal of the season for the Philadelphia Flyers. Joel Farabee and Travis Senheim as the assist for the Philadelphia Flyers. That was going to be an inside joke for one of my good friends. No, it wasn't Bobby Clark. No, it wasn't Eric Lindros. It wasn't Rod Brindamore. Unfortunately, that team wasn't here tonight. You had Noah Katz, Joel Farabee, and Travis Senheim as the people who put the puck in the back of the net to make it a 1-1 game for the Philadelphia Flyers as they were getting towards the end of the first period. And a few minutes left in the first period, the former Columbus Blue Jacket, now Philadelphia Flyer, Cam Atkinson with his fourth goal of the season. Cam York, Owen Tippett with the assist. Now, as much as I like to give praise to Cam Atkinson, I'll keep that later into the show. But Cam York and Owen Tippett, two young guys the Philadelphia Flyers have. These are two guys who are kind of going to be the backbone of this team. You got Owen Tippett and you have Cam York, which are two guys who are very solid. Cam York, a solid defenseman. This is somebody the Philadelphia Flyers fans have been talking about for a while. The 22-year-old they drafted in the first round a couple of years ago. And you know what? As a defenseman, hopefully he can pan out. But yeah, 22-year-old Cam York did a pretty good job. And then you had Owen Tippett, who was a former Philadelphia Flyers trainee as they got him from the Florida Panthers. 24 years old, former first-round pick, just like Cam York. So you do have some upside for the Philadelphia Flyers. Two former first-round picks assisted on this goal. And Cam Atkinson doing what he has done throughout his career, which is score goals. Now, after a depleted and a very lack of energy second period, where there was really no goals, really nothing happened in the second period. In fact, even the box score was empty in the second period. It seemed like for 20 minutes, it was just a very lackadaisical second period. It seemed like nobody really wanted to really make any moves. There were some shots, don't get me wrong, but it just seemed like the second period was kind of forgettable. You really don't remember much out of the second period, despite for one thing we'll talk about later in the show. Now, 12 minutes into the last period of the game, and Paul Cotter with an amazing goal. This is going to be a highlight reel for Paul Cotter throughout the rest of the season, as he had his second goal of the season. Caden Korzak, who I talked about earlier in the show, with the assist. And then Wild Bill William Carlson with his fifth assist of the season. Made it a 2-2 game for Paul Cotter. Now, I love this goal because Paul Cotter really set this up pretty well. Now, I'm not going to show the clip because, copyright is a thing. We've already had to deal with that once already this year. So let me just kind of describe what broke down with this play, because Paul Cotter had this amazing puck control. He really showed that he can really control the puck when it matters. So how this play happened when it came to Paul Cotter is actually pretty incredible. So you have a team right here. They go they're on the fast rush. There's 3-on-2 opportunity. Carlson gets it, goes into the right slot. Cotter gets past the defenseman and then shoots it past Carter Hart to make a 2-2 game. And like I said, the puck control by Paul Cotter was really amazing. I give him a lot of praise there. He did exceptionally well. And then lastly, in the third period, Shea Theodore with his second goal of the season to make it a 3-2 Vegas Golden Knights win. With about less than 30 seconds left in the game, Shea Theodore to win the game for the Vegas Golden Knights. And I will say this was a nice setup by Jack Eichel and by Braden McNabb, as this was a game that really mattered to the Vegas Golden Knights, being 7-0, still undefeated, still perfect for the Vegas Golden Knights. And you know what? When it comes to Shea Theodore, I like what he has done. However, there was one situation that did pop up in the game that we have to talk about. So later in the game, Nick Waugh went down the tunnel for the Vegas Golden Knights. Nick Waugh suffered an injury in this game for the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, if Nick Waugh does miss time, that means the fourth line center would be opened up. So when it comes to centers for the Vegas Golden Knights, there's some good opportunities you have there. Of course, in the minors, you do have some guys in Henderson who are hungry and they want to make a statement for the Vegas Golden Knights. But who could some of those guys be, for example? Who could be some players that when you look at the Vegas Golden Knights, you say, you know what, if Nick Waugh does sustain a long-term injury, if he's out for a while, who would be a center that they could put into that position? Because, yeah, Michael Amadio is technically a center, but he's on the middle six right now. I don't think you would put him on line 4. And so then you'd have to really stop and analyze it for a minute. You do have Byron Freese, who they did use last year in sporadic situations with the NHL. He could be somebody they put in there. You also have Gage Quinney. You have Mason Morelli. There are some guys in the minors that are centers that could be there. However, one guy I do have to mention, he is a top 10 prospect, a former first-round pick, and that is Brendan Bryson. He is someone that, as a center, could eventually make his debut in the NHL. So, Nick Waugh, I'm not going to speculate, say he's got a long-term injury, short-term injury. I'm just letting you know that he did suffer an injury in the Philadelphia Flyers game. And if that injury does end up being a long-term situation, they have options at center. Freese, Quinney, Morelli, Bryson, some guys down the minors they could call up here in Vegas. But yeah, the Vegas Golden Knights beat Philadelphia Flyers. Once again, no Eric Lindros in this game, no Bobby Clark. You didn't have to have any of those legends. The Vegas Golden Knights went out and won against the Philadelphia Flyers. And yeah, very bad night for Philadelphia. I mean, you had a Philadelphia Phillies who lost to Arizona Diamondbacks. Philadelphia Flyers lose to the Vegas Golden Knights. Overall, just not a good day to be a Philadelphia sports fan, where it is a good time to be a Vegas sports fan. I mean, after all, the Las Vegas Aces won back-to-back WNBA championships. Your Vegas Golden Knights are 7-0. If anyone's paying attention to UNLV, 6-1 in college football. So yeah, Vegas Golden Knights, congrats on the win. They did a pretty good job there. And Ivan Barbashev is the player of the game. The fact that he had played with some control, had some consistency on the first line in this game. And with Ivan Barbashev, I appreciate what he did for the Vegas Golden Knights. He did a really good job against the Philadelphia Flyers. So, Ivan Barbashev, player of the game, would be him. And I will say for Ivan Barbashev, hopefully we can see more of that in the season. And also, I want to give props to Cam Atkinson. It was a good goal by him. 4th goal of the season for Cam Atkinson. And you know what? With Cam Atkinson, he's kind of been dealt a bad hand in Philadelphia. People forget that Cam Atkinson was one of the best players the Blue Jackets had. He was signed to that massive 7-year deal back in 2016, 2017, around there. And I will say for Cam Atkinson, he gets traded to the Flyers. You have that whole situation there. And people forget that he had a 50-point season last year. I mean, this guy used to be a 60-point scorer every single year consistently. Whereas the Philadelphia Flyers, he only had about 20 goals last year, but he still had about 50 points. This year, he already has 4 points in 6 games, all 4 of them being goals. So I want to give props to Cam Atkinson. He did a pretty good job out there in Philadelphia. Now, we're going to get into the minor league part of it because the Henderson Silver Knights have also been playing in this season, and I will give props to the Henderson Silver Knights for doing an incredible job in the AHL. So for the Henderson Silver Knights, their past 2 games, we're going to be breaking it down right here. So they faced off against the San Jose Barracudas, and in overtime, won 4-3 to remain undefeated. So they were 4-0 as they headed into the season. They took on San Jose Barracudas in that situation. And I will say for the Henderson Silver Knights, they did pretty well at the Dollar Loan Center. I know there were some people that were also at the Dollar Loan Center who got to watch the game. Mason Morelli scored his 2nd goal of the season. I'm very high on Mason Morelli. I like his talent. He is somebody who's quick, got a lot of energy, good speed. Mason Morelli's 2nd goal of the season. You also had Jesper Beckman, who had his first ever victory in the AHL. So congrats to Jesper Beckman, the prospect in net for the Vegas Golden Knights. You also had Adam Cracknell, who also scored for the Henderson Silver Knights. And you also had Gage Quinney, the Vegas-born Gage Quinney, who also put the puck in the back of the net. Now, one guy who did impress me is the top prospect for the Vegas Golden Knights, and that is Lucas Cormier, who recorded his first point of the season. He had an assist on the Gage Quinney goal. He also was able to get the puck where it needed to be later in the game, whereas Dyson Mayo would tie the game and make it a 3-3 affair for the Henderson Silver Knights. And then later in the game, in overtime, the guy they acquired on waivers, Gregory Diansenko, scored the game-winning goal to make it a 4-3 win for the Henderson Silver Knights. So I got to give props there. And then on the same night as the Philadelphia Flyers, they took on the Bakersfield Condors, the affiliate of the Edmonton Oilers. And you know what? It was an unfortunate night. The Henderson Silver Knights lost 5-1. First loss this season, 4-1 for the Henderson Silver Knights, 7-0 for the Vegas Golden Knights. It wasn't going to last forever. Now, Sheldon Rampel was the guy who scored for the Henderson Silver Knights. Diansenko and Freeze had assists on that game. And yeah, when it comes to Bakersfield Condors, they just outplayed them that night. It happens. It is what it is. So as we are breaking down the hockey world, now what's going to happen for Vegas going in the future? What's going to be the Vegas Golden Knights long term? Because on Friday, they're going to be going up against the Chicago Blackhawks. It'll be at T-Mobile Arena. I will be at that game, by the way. I will be watching that game in person. And then on Saturday, they'll take on the LA Kings. So here's what we're going to do here on Vegas Hockey Hub. I actually have to explain this just to make sure everybody knows what's going on. So for the Vegas Hockey Hub recap, on Saturday morning, we will be doing the recap show for the Blackhawks. And then on Sunday morning, we'll do our recap show for the Kings. So both be at 8 a.m. Saturday and 8 a.m. Sunday. But just want to give everybody here a heads up that, yes, we are going to continue to do the recaps. I'm going to be bending the rules just a little bit. So Saturday morning at 8 a.m., we'll be doing the Blackhawks recap. And then at Sunday, at 8 a.m. on Sunday, the Kings recap show. Hopefully the Golden Knights can still be 9-0 at that point. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, Connor Bedard, Chicago Blackhawks on Friday. And then the LA Kings will be on Saturday. That'll be at the Staples Center. I'm sorry, I can't call it Crypto.com Arena. I just can't. It'll never be that for me. So I will say to everybody watching around the world, this was our Vegas Hockey Hub recap show. This was a lot of fun. And I will say to everyone watching all around the world, this has definitely been a lot of fun doing the Vegas Hockey Hub recap shows. And the Vegas Golden Knights are still perfect, 7-0. And you know what? Before we officially leave, before we officially get out of here, about 10 minutes left. You know what? When it comes to Vegas Golden Knights, I actually have to say that their statistics on the year are pretty remarkable. And actually, who leads the team in points is incredible. So, for anybody who doesn't know, the Vegas Golden Knights right now, being 7-0, their leading goal scorer, their leading assists, and their leading in points is actually quite impressive. So, for the Vegas Golden Knights, their current goal scorer, the guy who leads the team in goals, is Jack Eichel. Now, this really shouldn't surprise anybody that Jack Eichel, the sniper, one of the best players in all of hockey, a top 20 player, leads the Vegas Golden Knights in goals. But Jonathan Marchessault and Nick Waugh, they also have a trio of goals as well on the year. But Jack Eichel leads the team in goals. Now, the player who leads the team in assists is shockingly Jack Eichel. So Jack Eichel has the team lead in goals. Jack Eichel has the team lead in assists. And in points, you guessed it, it is Jack Eichel. So Jack Eichel, 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points on the year. Chandler Stevenson has done pretty well as well. He has 2 goals on the year, 5 assists, 7 points to the Vegas Golden Knights. William Karlsson, 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points. Shea Theodore, 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points. So you have lucky sevens there. Stevenson, Karlsson, and Theodore all have lucky sevens on the year for the Vegas Golden Knights. Your captain, Mark Stone, already has 1 goal on the year, 5 assists, for 6 points already. And I will also give praise to Brayden McNabb, 4 assists on the year, good for a defenseman. Now, a lot of people don't like to talk about plus minus. That's okay. But Brayden McNabb does lead the team in plus minus. He has a +8 on the year for the Vegas Golden Knights. So Brayden McNabb, 4 points, a +8. That's pretty good for him. And then Brett Howden leads the team in penalty minutes with 15 penalty minutes in 7 games. So for the Vegas Golden Knights, they have done pretty well this year. But like I said, again, Jack Eichel leads the team in goals, assists, and points. Brayden McNabb leads in plus minus. And Brett Howden leads in penalty minutes. I also will say on time on ice, Shea Theodore leads the entire team with time on ice with a little over 22 minutes on ice for the Vegas Golden Knights. And in terms of shots on goal, should be no surprise to anybody, Jack Eichel has 36 shots on net, which is actually about 14 more than the next guy, which is Jonathan Marchessault. So Jack Eichel is putting in the work. He's shooting those shots for the Vegas Golden Knights, and Jack Eichel's done pretty well. So I will say to everybody watching all around the world, this is PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele, and I appreciate everybody watching all around the world. And this is Vegas Hockey Hub. And until next time, continue watching hockey, go support junior hockey, and go Knights, go!
PR Connections Radio presents